Well, oh, this is blue. Okay. Hey,
Hey guys, can you hear me?
yeah, hang on.
All good.
Welcome to Beyond Belief, the art of strange mentalism, with your host, Tommy Burnett. This week's special guest is Steve Spade. And now your host, Tommy Burnett.
Come on. There we are. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Beyond Belief, the art of strange mentalism, starring me, Tommy Burnett, with a very special guest. I apologize for starting a little bit late on Facebook, and hopefully, hopefully you're still here watching. We have a great amount of people in our gallery at home. So, hi, Facebook. Yep. And then we'll come back to me. Yeah. So, today we have a good friend of mine who I met a number of years ago when I was working at a magic shop here in town, who I will not name um, because I'm trying to separate myself from that place because it only holds bad memories for me, except for the people that I have met there. And one of them is today's guest. He is known as a magician, a mentalist, an escape artist. In fact, for many years, he's been known as the Houdini of Ireland. Among other things, he's a master magician and um, creator of sorts. And I'm very happy that he's here today. Please help me welcome my friend, Mr. Steve Spade.
Hey
He,
Tommy, hey everyone. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you, my friend?
All good, all good. I've been doing a 2 day expo, so I'm a bit I'm a bit burnt out, but I'm
Oh,
just home, so all good.
yeah, yeah. Um, what I was just began for anybody who might not know who you are, how about, you telling us about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, I've been a magician since forever, since I was a kid, and I always had a massive interest in that. But I suppose as I got older, I started kind of elaborating and doing a bit more kind of the dangerous stuff. That's when the escapes kicked in. And more recently, then I've been doing a lot more hypnosis and mentalism.
Mhm.
So in my live show now, there's a mix of everything in my show. There's a full kind of mix of all the different genres of magic in the one show. But I suppose when I got more TV work, I started doing more mentalism, I think. And then that kind of excelled that because I think people it's kind of like I kind of find like it's kind of like escapology in a way that people kind of can't deny it because they just see it as real, and mentalism is a bit like that too. And I think that producers on TV and things want that where they can kind of dumb down magic and just be like, magic is for kids or whatever. But with mentalism or escapology, because you're doing more kind of dangerous or even dangerous in the sense of like revealing someone's thought or a secret or whatever it might be, that's kind of spicy for a producer, so they want that on TV.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. It seems to be getting that way everywhere now, which is good for me because that's what I like to do. So, um,
Mm.
Yeah. Um, okay, so again, this format, I don't have any set questions for my
Sure.
guests. So if I pause for a minute, it's because I'm trying to figure out what to say. But
That's no
but
problem.
yeah. So you've performed not only in Ireland, correct? You performed in other places as well,
Yeah, yeah, I have. Yeah, like yeah. When I was over in New York that time, I performed a bit. I performed in
right?
Spain. I
Yeah,
performed in Germany. I have. Yeah, I performed all over.
yeah.
The reactions are different everywhere. I think when I first like saw like David Blaine on TV in America, I just knew that the reactions were going to be big and brass. And kind of loud and all that kind of stuff. You don't really get that reaction here. You do if you kind of tailor the effect correctly. But in Ireland, it's more kind of a relaxed reaction, you know.
So
But in Britain, it's a very kind of a slow burner type reaction. If anyone's watching from the UK, they'll know that you might get a bit of a golf clap kind
yeah,
of a thing. You could have just done something fucking amazing, but you're gonna get, wow, that's great. Well
right. Yeah,
done.
yeah. It was pretty good. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you know, but I think the more visual the magic, the more kind of extreme the magic that you're doing, or mentalism, depends
Yeah,
on the reaction.
yeah, yeah. In a way, I kind of prefer the golf clap over. Oh my God! I fell. Oh my God! You're the devil. Because that seems a little fake to me. Or at least
I don't know. I
over.
think they,
You know, I've never seen
yeah,
anybody
I
do
think they,
that. Live. If only on
yeah,
TV. They go, oh my God! I can't believe it.
yeah.
And it's
I don't know. Sometimes if you can get like somebody like at a corporate event or somewhere where they're meant to be like, calm and relaxed kind of a thing,
right.
but then you
Yeah.
can get them to that point where they feel like
Oh
they need to
yeah,
run out of the room.
absolutely. Yeah,
That can be very powerful. Yeah, I try
yeah,
to make it like the thing that if I'm doing street magic, I try to make people run away from me. So I try to
yeah,
do something that will make
yeah.
them kind of explode and disperse, that kind of way. Um, and I think, I think that's really good when you're doing street magic, especially because people gravitate to that because they're like, what just happened over there, that kind of thing. So it
Right.
always gathers a crowd, especially if you're filming as well. Like I filmed when I was in Times Square the last time, and the same thing, you just get that big reaction once or twice, and then you just have people coming to you.
Right. Right. Um, how, okay, so you recently, like, in the last couple of years, had a baby with your partner.
Yeah,
How does that affect, um, your work? Oh,
it's good. Yeah, yeah. Michael's 5 now, and he's starting like full school in September, so that'll be like another change again. But yeah, I'm just kind of adapting with it, with everything.
yeah, yeah,
Like in the
yeah,
morning, he's in kind of a preschool kindergarten type thing in the morning time, so I can get work done. Then a lot of my work is like the weekends, and like when I'm like producing something or working on something, I can do that, at home on my laptop or whatever. So yeah, you just kind of adapt
yeah.
everything around it. Like I'm able to do the podcast now because I put him to bed. But
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
you just adjust with these things, and yeah, it's great fun. Every day I learn something from him and he learns something from me. It's cool.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So he's 5 already. Wow. Uh,
5, yeah.
I
Time
think,
flies.
yeah, and I think the last time I saw him, he wasn't even 2 yet. I don't think.
Yeah, yeah. He was just
Uh,
2. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wow. Um, wh- what is I mean, so you pretty much do every aspect of magic in some way. Do you have a favorite? Like, do you prefer working on stage or doing close up or
You know, I kind of, yeah, that's a tough question because I like it for different reasons. So like when I'm doing my full on stage show, I toured a show called Lost Magic for about 18 months off and on in different locations around Ireland and Northern Ireland. And while I was doing that, I loved the show because it was it was the same material, but it was a different audience every night. So it just became a kind of a flow thing, and I really
Right.
enjoyed that. But then there's sometimes where I love just doing a piece of close-up magic in a coffee shop, even not even at a gig or whatever, and it just gets people on off guard. So yeah, I kind of like all the different genres of it. I mean, I'm always doing magic, so it kind
Mm.
of but I do like to scale up though when I'm doing a big stunt and I have to like prepare for it and train for it and all that kind of stuff. I do love that whole organizing thing to do something big and dangerous.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, Tell me about when you do the escapes. Are you still doing escapes, or is that something you kind of back away from?
No, I haven't done like a big one in a while, but I have regular escapes in my corporate stage show and stuff. I do like rope ties and handcuff ties and challenge escapes and
Right?
stuff like that. So
Yeah,
yeah. So there's still some of that in there. And I kind of adapt to try to like fuse it with something else. So it's
yeah,
not just the escape, it's like with another layer on top of it or make it a bit different. So but yeah, no, I'm still kind of known for the escape, so I still do
yeah,
some and I'm always planning stuff, but the thing is, there's so much red tape when you're going to do something dangerous. So you've got to put together. It's always like a pitch proposal type thing to like
yeah.
towns or cities or whatever. So I'm always willing to do dangerous stuff, and I have a crew that are always like, when do we get to blow something up? But I have to wait. We have to wait.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, Aside from Houdini, do you have maybe inspiration from other
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, well, I mean, I mentioned Blaine there a while ago. Like
right, right,
I was at Blackpool this year, and David Blaine was there, and we got to hang out with him on the first night. He was jamming and stuff, and just to be in the same room and watch him jam, and then just kind of chat with him, kind of casually, was it just takes all the bells and whistles of oh, he's that guy on TV kind of thing, and it just becomes
right,
very human. You know what I mean? Kind of like when we're out at a magic convention and we just get to jam or talk together or have a drink or a coffee or whatever. It was just a very kind of normal human kind of moment, and it was just nice to see him in his environment, but also not I'm the famous magician thing. He was just being David,
yeah,
or whatever. So that was kind of nice. Recently I saw Darren Brown's new live show, and I was blown away by the just the way he structures his show. He's such a great
yeah,
showman.
yeah,
Um, the show was phenomenal. I think it was one of his best shows I've ever seen, and I've seen all his live shows when he comes to Ireland
right,
over the years. But I
right.
really, really enjoyed this one. It's called Only Human. Excellent.
Yeah, yeah. I think there may be a couple of people here that saw that show in the Zoom room. Um, I
Yeah,
have
excellent show.
I haven't yet, and I don't know if he's coming back to America with that. But if he does, I'm definitely gonna see it. I saw him the last time he was here, and that was really really amazing. And you mentioned you like the way he structures the show. Um,
Hmm.
when you do a show, what is your process in structuring the show that you're in?
Yeah, so when I was doing the Last Magic show, I wanted that show to be a very kind of stripped back show. Like it was called Lost Magic because I was talking about when I lost my dad. He passed away
Right,
7 years ago. So I'd written the show and rewritten the show and stuff, and it was one of these shows that I wanted to do for a long time, but I didn't really want to do it. And the whole concept was kind of telling the audience that I kind of lost magic when I lost dad. So then I created a whole effect around him because he was a mechanic. So I did a thing with a washer, and it had a whole story about the circle of life and all this kind of stuff. And I had it had a whole kind of meaning. So I kind of when I was working on the show, I kind of started with that, and that was like the heart of the show. And then I spread out, from there because otherwise it was just very depressing. so
yeah, yeah,
so I kind of started there and it kind of just spread out. But I kind of wanted like on stage usually I'm like high energy and a lot of gags and stuff as well as the serious magic. So this time I wanted to strip that back and just kind of let the audience see me kind of vulnerable. So I changed the whole dynamic of what it was. It was like sitting down on stage on a chair, talking to the audience, telling them a bit about dad, and then inviting somebody up to write down the name of somebody that passed, and then a washer would vanish and it would reappear in where they would choose to have reappear. And it was a very strong piece. And a lot of times, like at the night, at the end of the show, the people that were up on stage with me or other people would want to come up to me. It was around, after the pandemic, so there was a lot of loss and things like that, and people wanted to tell me like their story, and I was like, that's so kind of surreal to think just a magic trick that we can dismiss as like, oh, that's cool, but whatever. You know what I mean? Was kind of
Yeah,
like hitting people on an emotional way that they wanted to come up to me afterwards when we were doing like meet and greet or whatever and just have a chat about their story or who they lost or whatever. So that was kind of therapy in itself. But it was nice to do that every night. There was some nights where it was harder to get that story across to the audience because you're very vulnerable, but I always enjoyed doing it because you just kind of
yeah,
keeping that
yeah.
alive in the show.
Nice, nice. Um, so probably the last 20 years or so in magic, it's become a big thing to be a good storyteller. I mean, it's always been important, but it comes in waves. The
Yeah.
last 20 years has been about, oh, you need to tell a story in order to be a good musician. Um, do you agree with that? And if so, what are how do you come up with a good story for the magic?
Yeah, I think to be genuine to your audience, you need to tell them your story, not just a story. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
if you want to go on and be, the wizard that knows everything and can do everything and is almighty in a sense, and has that kind of persona, then I
mhm,
think you lose the audience because they know its tricks, they know its methods,
right,
they know its
yeah,
skill. You know what I mean? So they're not as oblivious to like what you're doing really. And obviously they can Google everything these days, or they can watch the Max
yeah,
Magician on YouTube or whatever.
yeah,
And they'll think they can figure it out even sometimes. But I think if you're just telling your story with them and you're kind of genuine and you can kind of relate to them. Like I even mentioned like Michael now when I'm doing my stage show, because obviously I know I'm playing to a lot of people my own age. So like they have kids or they know what it's like to get out for a night without the kids or whatever to a show,
yeah,
or you know what I mean? So I can play to these kind of things, and you can I think if you're very kind of human about it, but then you do like incredible magic and you catch them off guard, they're like, oh, but he just seemed like a normal, nice guy, and now he's doing this. And I think there's like kind of a power in that in itself.
yeah, yeah. So I just got distracted with people in the hallway outside. Um, yeah, no, I agree with that. I find that it's really important to be myself when I'm
Yeah.
performing.
I think
Uh,
people can see through it too, Tommy. I think
yeah,
like people want to see now. I think more than ever, in a world where everything is kind of a bit fake, and a bit, even with the AI stuff and everything else, like people don't know what to believe or what they see or whatever. So I think if you just bring a bit of your own normal everyday scenario into your routines or into your and just be kind of human about it, I think people can relate to you a lot quicker than, oh, look at the guy with the big cape or whatever. They're just like, who's this
yeah,
guy? Why does that guy have loads of medallions on?
yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, I have a couple, but uh,
But it's
yeah,
good because it draws people in. It's like that peacocking
right,
thing that it's like
yeah,
it
yeah,
it's intrigue, like, and it can be your
right,
story, it can be your look, it can be your
yeah,
dress, it can be your style, like anything to draw. Once you draw them in and you have them engaged, then you can perform whatever you really want to perform.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with that completely. And that engagement is pretty key because once you have the audience, you can take them anywhere you want, and they will
Absolutely.
follow you. Yeah. Um, what is what was the sorry, as spitballing, if there's anything that you want to say, you just cut me off and I was just trying to fill time here. Um,
Whatever you want.
yeah. Um, I assume. I mean, I know You're busier than I've been in quite a while. Um, but have you had a chance? I know you mentioned Dan Brown but have you been able to watch any other magician or mentalist perform?
Um, I just when I was saying like I saw Darren live. I love
Right.
seeing live magic. I did see Keith Barry's
Right.
show actually there recently as
Yeah.
well, so it was
Yeah.
good to see Keith show
Mhm.
again. So yeah, no, I
Yeah.
always like seeing live performances, because it's a nice way to just kind of step back because like you're usually the guy on the stage, and I love going to see somebody
Exactly.
else do it, and not even just
Yeah.
for the tricks, just how they are on stage, how they are with the audience, and all. I'm looking for different things than the tricks. The tricks are well, a lot of the time, you might know the method, but it's more about the presentation or how they kind of develop.
Yeah.
You can see how that kind of orchestrates. But I like that with like stand-up comedians too, or even bands. Like a good frontman of a band, you can just you can kind of feel the kind of character of the person or whatever just from their live performance. So yeah, I don't
Yeah.
get a chance to go to a lot of shows, but when I do get a chance, I love any live performance really.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. The last live show I went to was to see Jimmy Carr, the comedian. He came here in New York, but I haven't seen a live magic show in a while.
Yeah.
Um,
Lucy Darling was in Ireland. Lucy Darling, the comedian
yeah,
musician,
sure, yeah, yeah,
and we went
it's,
and we did a Q&A thing with her, and we're going to have her
yeah,
on our podcast in a few weeks. But she was
nice.
excellent. Her
Uh,
live show, she did three tricks in the show, but still had everyone in her pocket for the whole show.
yeah,
She's probably one of the best crowd workers I've ever seen for just impromptu. What do
yeah,
you do? And then let
yeah,
it roll. Like, incredible.
yeah, yeah. Um, and it's all based on that character because
Yeah, yeah.
I like that in real life.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. Oh
but
yeah, she's
yeah,
very yeah. We met her before the show, and we met her after the
yeah,
show, and she was out of character and then in character after the show, and it's
yeah,
literally like two different people. But she said she
yeah,
created a lot of different
yeah,
characters. It's just this is the main one that kind of stuck or
right,
whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, no, yeah. I don't get to see a lot of magic. I love watching magic though. I'm good friends with Wes Barker. I love watching Wes videos when they pop up. Some
yeah.
of the comedy stuff. Mike Hammer is another good one. His videos pop up, and you get
Hmm.
a chuckle out of them.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I see obviously a lot of like one of your New York guys, Oz Perlman. You see a lot of his
Oh
videos
yeah,
popping up
sure.
now,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it's really strong stuff he's doing. A lot of TV and a lot of red carpets, and it's
yeah,
great. So
yeah.
it's good because
Uh,
that's good for all mentalism. Because people are like, "What's a mentalist?" And then you kind of go, "Well, it's kind of like what Oz does or
yeah,
whatever." And now do you know what I mean? But
yeah,
but it's good for the
yeah,
general public that don't know what it is because a lot of people here just think it's a TV show. They're like, "Is that a TV show?" And I'm like, "Kind of," you know.
yeah,
Um,
right, yeah,
so yeah,
yeah,
you're kind of explaining it to people because they get confused between like kind of like mind reader and mentalist, and they don't, you know what I mean? So and hypnotist, they kind of tie them all in together.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and it's not even their fault. It's because so many people do perform all three: magic, mentalism, and
Sure.
hypnosis. The kind of creating that idea that it's
Yeah.
all one and the same. Um,
Yeah, because
and
so much of now is like the impromptu mentalism is like a huge thing, or the propless mentalism and all
right,
that, where
right,
there's no, it seems to be like no apparatus or whatever, probably an app on your phone, but like there's no physical thing, and
yeah,
then people kind of see that as like the real stuff, you know what I mean? So I often find like I could be doing a show or even a close-up performance, and I'd be performing stuff, and then somebody would be like, "Oh yeah, but is that like tricks or is that like the real? You know what I mean? Can you do something that's like a real thing or whatever?" And you could do the same trick again, just in a different rehash, and they'd be like, "Oh wow, that's amazing." You know what I mean? So I think
Yeah,
people kind
yeah,
of, you know what I mean? I think people kind of get confused by the mentalist, mind reader, hypnotist is an influence. You know, they kind of, but it's good. I mean, that blurred line,
yeah,
you can really
yeah,
have fun in that blurred line. They don't know what you're doing.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Um, what it was the best compliment you ever got?
Best compliment I ever got. I did a show at the start of the tour, and the venue that I played, the guy that was doing the sound tech and the engineer was watching me in rehearsals, and we were just doing a quick run through or whatever. And he said the last magician to play this room was Paul Daniels. So I was like, that's cool, you know, because it was that kind of like, oh my God, you know. But that was cool. Compliment wise, I guess you know, just you get the whole, oh my God, that's incredible, oh my God, it's amazing, you know. But you can kind
Yeah,
of,
yeah,
I think when it touches somebody and then they want to tell you their story, I think they become the moments because then I'm like my trick, my bit of sleight of hand or whatever it might be, has kind of transcended this trick moment, and now it's become this like memory, or it's after invoking something else in somebody else or something, and I just think that is like a compliment in itself, you know?
yeah. Of course, yeah, yeah. But that's kind of where I was going. You know, you know, I don't really care for. I mean, I do. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working. But I don't care so much about the ones that say, "Oh, that was amazing. That was unbelievable." You know, I like the ones where they say, "That was really moving. That really touched my heart." And many years ago, my favorite one was, "The only explanation I have for you is that you are truly psychic." And that,
Yeah,
at the time, that really meant a lot. Now, not so much, but at the time, that meant a lot because they didn't think I was doing anything tricky. They thought it was real. Um,
yeah,
but now, for me, because I've changed, um, it's more important to me that I've made that connection with somebody, you know, and if they feel that connection, you know, I've done my job. It's, yeah,
yeah, absolutely. It kind of comes back to like we were talking about, like they have to care about you to care about what you're doing, you know, that kind of thing.
right,
So,
yeah,
I guess, I mean, we're all painting a picture, we're all creating an illusion. So, kind of, if they don't know what you are when you walk away, that's kind of up to them to figure that out in a sense. You know what I mean? Because like you can be branded a magician or a mind reader or a mentalist or a hypnotist or a psychic or a medium or whatever, but it doesn't, you know what I mean? It doesn't, how you brand yourself and how they see you is two different things, you know?
right, exactly, yeah, yeah. Um, so Beyond Belief started out as a show mostly about bizarre magic, but and I had another host, Dr. Michael Likey, who used to run it with me, and in the beginning, he booked all the guests, and many of them were not bizarre magicians, which is fine. Um, have you ever done any bizarre magic and or any like spooky magic in your show?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I've done seances and I've done I did like a kind of an Edwardian type replica kind of seance thing, and I did that for like an arts show, a convention type thing, and I did it for a manor house as well. And it's called Burnett. It's like a castle and a manor house, and I did like Victorian style seances in there.
Yeah,
What else have I done? Spooky. Yeah, I've always loved that kind of darker kind of stuff. Anyway, you know, I've always
yeah,
like dabbled
yeah,
in it a little bit. I do like some of the freak show stuff as well, like Blockhead and
Yeah.
heating glass and light bulbs, and I do, and I dabble in a bit of that as well. So even in the new show Elements, there's a lot more edgier stuff because I wanted to have a show that isn't like the other magicians that are out there touring or whatever.
Right. Right.
So I wanted to put in stuff where it blurs the line. Like I smash a Corona bottle and I let somebody pick up a piece of glass and put it on my tongue and then I use. But I want to blur that line going, is he eating glass or what's going on? You know? And I want that confusion there, in a sense. So yeah, I've started kind of provoking that. But I think that is as well as just like an outlet to do dangerous stuff, but on stage. But it's not per se an escape. It's more just the edgy magic where that David Blaine, you're blurring the line of like, is it real? Is it fake? Is it whatever?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. 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 It's been a while. I used to do Blockhead all the time. Um, it's one of those effects that if you do it right, it's perfectly safe, but people react in so many great ways. Um, Especially when you have them pull the nail out for you. Um,
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, eating glass. I
so
just
strong. It's even that tic tac of the eye based on the old
yeah,
Indian
yeah,
bead trick. I mean, that's
yeah.
such a strong trick. You know, it's
It is.
so
It is.
it's
Yeah,
so powerful, and
yeah,
it's just got that element of magic, and it's kind of like creepy and it's squeamish, and it's got a lot of layers that you get a lot
yeah,
of different reactions for
yeah.
it. Weirdly enough, even though it's such a visual effect, it plays really well on like a radio station because you'll have the DJ freaking out when it starts to pop out of your eye.
Right.
And
Yeah.
a good DJ should be able to paint the picture of that. You know what I mean? So
Right.
they should be able to describe it. Like I've done bending spoons and forks on the radio, and
Right.
just on the basis of saying to the producer, whatever happens, just explain exactly what's happening in real time, and then
Right.
they'll paint the picture. They don't even need to see it. Now, the majority of the radio stations have webcams now and everything, but a
Right.
good DJ or presenter should be able to present that in a sense of like it's melting now. You know, I'm holding it, it's bending, and they should be able to get that
Mm.
across the line. You know, so
Yeah.
I think a lot
Yeah.
of times younger magicians might ask me, what kind of magic should I do on radio? What kind of magic should I do on TV if I get a slot and that kind of stuff. But I'm always like, don't do anything that's like just for that day, as in like do something that's in your repertoire, do something that you do a lot. Um, do something that's going to be okay on angles, and there's no like bad because like producers will be fine, but the cameraman might just spin around the camera and you're done.
Right.
So I always kind of like just do something that you're very good at. Don't just be like, oh, today I'm going to bend a spoon and you've never done it in your life. That kind
Right.
of
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've
I've
I've heard a
seen.
lot of horror stories of people buying like electric devices or whatever, and they go to the studio, and then the signal gets jammed, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And live
Electron.
TV, live TV is unforgiving. You've got one shot.
Yeah. 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 Electronics are fun, but I would never use one on TV. I occasionally use it in my on stage, but I will never use it on TV.
Yeah,
Um, yeah. Um, so you've been on TV certainly more than I have. Um, if somebody were looking to make that transition and get on TV, do you have any advice?
I think like the easiest way that I ever found getting on TV was like I was doing a show, and then they'd come to me or whatever. One time like on TV was so random. I was on Instagram and I was working on a movie as a consultant, and while I was in my dressing room, I was just flicking cards and catching them with my eyes closed, and that's all I was doing. And a producer saw me like flick off an ace of spades and catch it with my eyes closed, and she
Mm-hmm.
messaged me, was like, "Oh, can you come on the show and do that?" And I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? So it was just, sometimes they just want a quick visual. There's been times where I've been on morning TV for like Escapology Day, and like Halloween is a good time if you're going to pitch a TV show to something, or they might
Yeah.
get in touch with you. Or I remember when Paul Daniels passed away, there was radio stations that wanted me to come on and talk about him and things like
Mm,
that. So there's lots of opportunities out there for people if you just kind of look
right.
for them. But yeah, I mean, just have something ready to go. Don't if you're ready, if you get a TV slot or a break like that, just have something ready to go that that you love doing. And it's kind of it can be kind of artist subjective at that stage. As long as you do it well, it will fly by.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Roy, go back to sleep, okay? Um,
Sleep.
yeah, and sleep. Yeah. I've done that with him, and it works. Um, let's see if anybody in our Zoom audience, see if they have anybody here have any comments or questions?
Steve, on that on your shirt, is that your emblem?
Yes, yeah,
Is it
that's my logo.
is it an eye in the middle?
It is, yeah. Man, there we go.
Cool.
Very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, so for the last run of the tour, we had merch and stuff. So we had baseball caps, beanie hats, hoodies, and tote bags.
Steve, you've been going by Spade now, right? Steve Spade?
Yeah, it's been
Yeah.
it's been Spade for a long time. Yeah. Like it's
Yeah.
either Steve or just Spade. But a lot of the time now, with like media stuff, it's Spade. So when I'm on like a show or something, they'll call me Spade. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Bono.
Nice. Anybody else?
What part of Ireland are you in? North or south?
I'm down south. I'm in Limerick.
Down south.
So I'm about 2 hours from Dublin, and I'm near Shannon Airport. So yeah, I'm down a bit.
Thank you. I'm from the
No.
north of I'm in the north of Scotland.
Oh no, it's John. Very nice.
I didn't catch you.
Oh, he said very nice.
Very nice.
Oh, very nice. Yeah,
Thank you.
Yeah.
up the Scots.
Country cousins.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yeah. We're all Celts at heart.
Yes.
Nice. Anybody else? No?
You,
Okay.
you mentioned
Oh,
a mentalist, Otis, somebody. What was his name? He said he was on YouTube and things like that.
Oz Perlman.
Otis.
Oz.
Oz, like Oz, like yeah, Oz.
Yeah.
Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oz. He pronounces it Oz instead of
Oz.
Oz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm always sort of interested in. I like mentalism because it works for a woman.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate that people still remember witchcraft and witches and clairvoyance and all sorts of other things. So I find that it's something I feel comfortable with.
Yeah. Do you do like tarot and stuff like that?
Pardon?
Do you do like tarot cards and that thing?
I don't do tarot readings or anything like that, but I do use magic effects with tarots and things like that, and with Zen cards and what have you.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I don't do anything with smartphones and things like that because to me it doesn't seem logical. Everybody, I mean, they called a smartphone for a reason.
Yeah. I've had that.
They can do just about anything. And
no, you're right. I think you are right because I mean, there's a lot of apps out there now, and I think people know enough to be like, well, there's going to be voice recognition, or there's going to be that, or there's going to be this. Where if you just do something with a billet, a piece of paper, and then you just throw that piece of paper away, like it means nothing to the audience. It should mean nothing as well. And I think even just a common piece of paper has even less value now because of the smartphone. that just to do a billet routine is stronger now than it would have been, I'd even think 50 years
Yeah,
ago.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Steve,
Yeah.
but
you talk about the
it's
radio. The author's in the.
What
You
was
ever
that?
see this book, Magic on the Air?
No, I haven't.
The
Yeah,
author's in the studio right now.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
uh, yeah. It came off right now, but yeah, Ian Fang wrote. It's a great book. I've now read it twice from cover to cover. There's a lot of really good stuff in there, and a lot of good radio effects in it too. Highly recommend it for.
I remember really fun any card, any number I did on the radio one time where I had the DJ ask get people to call in with two-digit numbers, text in with two-digit numbers, and then I let him choose one of the numbers that came in. So it was even more random, and then it was that
uh,
number. That
Nice.
that played really, really well. That played bigger than a card trick, if you know what I mean, you know?
Oh yeah, sure.
No,
Yeah,
but you
no,
should check the book out.
Yeah, I
yeah.
will. I will.
Um, anytime you can get a caller to call in with some information and then you like, oh yeah, well I have this envelope, and in the envelope is what you just said. It's perfect for radio. But when you
Yeah.
can get multiple people calling in with different numbers and then come up with, that's great. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
A great prop that I've been using for different things is the Snaps deck. I don't know, did you see that? But Dan Harlan brought it out, where it's an alphabet deck with images, so the
Yeah, yeah,
images become the letters.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have that somewhere. Yeah, yeah,
That plays really strong because there's that kicker that it's there in plain sight the whole time.
yeah,
I've
yeah.
been using that on different radio shows and TV spots and journalists and stuff, and
Right.
it always plays really well. And you don't need the whole deck. You can just have like 10 cards with whatever handling you want and use it like a brainwave or whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
It's just because it's a whole deck of cards doesn't mean you need to use a whole deck of cards.
yeah. Oh, yeah,
See,
absolutely. And
that's it right there. It takes a lot to be a magician on the radio,
Yeah,
because you
it,
got
it can be
to.
challenging. I remember the first time I was doing it, it was always like, what'll I do? And it was always like, I'll do a newspaper prediction and I'll hand it in and I'll come back in. But now I realize that if I just do something strong and visual, even like a pulse stop, but have them like tap the microphone, so then boom, and then it just stops, just trying to use like sound and things. Um,
yeah,
there's a
yeah,
there's a ring and a bell routine. I've done like a spirit bell on the radio, you if you just kind
yeah,
of play around with noise and sound and kind of
yeah.
like how would I interpret that if I heard it on the radio?
Oh, absolutely. One recommendation I would give, I haven't done as many radio spots as you have, but I have done five, five or six. Um, you mentioned that if the job of a DJ is to describe. Sometimes they don't do that because they don't.
No, they
They,
don't. No, you have to tell
so
them. You have
you
to tell
have
them.
to tell them, yeah, exactly. You
Now
have to,
you're not telling
yeah,
them to like play it up for the sake of it. You're just literally going, what
yeah,
happens and how you
exactly,
react is, yeah, I just want you to
exactly,
explain
yeah,
that in
right,
words because obviously people can't see. But like
exactly,
it's not as much of a
yeah,
problem because there's web cameras now and a lot of the radio
yeah.
stations have a
Oh,
live
it is,
feed
yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Although the thing with that is you don't want to be like on a radio station going like, yeah, let me get this up here. But
right, exactly, yeah,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
not doing anything.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not doing anything.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah,
Make sure, even if it's a radio station, make sure there's probably a web camera there somewhere.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Um, but brought up using a smartphone, and I agree with that. I have used a smartphone, but usually it's behind the scenes, and nobody knows about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Or I have an app that will work on somebody else's phone, so it's their phone. But I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it inside of a cell. I would do it like maybe one on one, or
But there seems to be a big thing in pre-show now. I mean, obviously it's always been there, but there's been times where I've been on TV shows and stuff, and they're like, "So before the show, do you want to meet the producer? Do we need to write anything down?
right,
What do you
exactly.
want us to know?" They're asking you all these questions.
Yeah,
So obviously,
yeah,
they kind of know that the process, and then I'm like, "No, I'll
right.
just do it live," and they're like, "Are you sure?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, it'll be fine," you know.
And
Because
yeah,
I don't want them to be like Steve Spade came in and he asked us to write down all this stuff
right.
and then he told us what
But
it was.
recently, somebody's been posting videos on YouTube exposing methods. They put up a pretty nasty expose of Leo Shusod from Israel.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
and they, they were they were badly trying to explain what he was doing. Um, and I mean, it's bad enough trying to expose somebody, but you're putting out misinformation on
mm,
top of it. But Leo is one of my favorite methods today, aside from Dan Brown. Um, and he uses very simple methods. We don't talk about methods on here, but he uses
sure,
very simple methods and gets really high results.
yeah,
Um, you know, and I think that's what it's really all about. It doesn't have to be this complex method of um, electronics or um, whatever.
no. I
Um,
mean, a really strong presentation is just have somebody think of somebody that they haven't spoke to in a long time, but not like a childhood friend. Somebody like I'd say to them, okay, so is there someone in your phone that you haven't rang in a year, 2 years, whatever? And they
yeah,
say yeah, and I say great, think of that person, and then you can have them write it down or whatever you want to do. And then when you reveal the name later on, in whatever way you're going to routine it, you say you got to do me a favor if I get the name right. So I say, oh, you're thinking of Tommy, right? And they'll react. And then you go, okay, the favor is you have to ring them now. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah,
yeah,
just ring them. Just ring them and tell them what
yeah,
happened. I'll tell them what happened.
yeah,
And I could take the
yeah,
phone off them and I'd be like, hey, Tommy, now you don't know me, but weird thing just happened, but your friend wants to talk to you. Boom. You know?
nice,
Um,
yeah,
that's really strong because that's not
very
a magic
strong.
trick. In their eyes, that's them going, I wasn't even thinking of Tommy today, and now I'm ringing him.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think that's what gets people where when they're booking a party, when they're doing something, they're like, I'm going to book that guy that made me speak to my friend today, whatever. You're just making that personal connection. It's the same trick as a billet trick, but you've made it this,
yeah,
elaborate. You made
yeah,
it like a big, almost like a TV type trick, but it doesn't have to be. It's just still
right,
a routine, but you've just made it bigger by just engaging the people and
yeah,
kind of letting them, you know what I mean?
yeah. No, absolutely. Again, for me, it's about making that connection, you know, and what a great way. You're not just connecting with them, you're having them connect with somebody else they haven't spoken to in however long. So,
Yeah, I always say like 6 months to a year or something because it's not like somebody that if you ring them,
right,
they're not going to answer the phone
right,
or something, you know what I mean, or
yeah,
whatever. But like sometimes they don't answer, it goes into a voicemail, and then I'll leave them a
yeah,
funny voicemail. I'm like, hey, Steve Spade here, I'm a magician, a mind reader. I just blew away your friend there. She's all freaked out. She was thinking about you though. She's going to ring you back later. Bye. And usually it's just like weird voicemail. So
yeah,
you can have a
yeah.
lot of fun. You can have a lot of fun with that kind of stuff, and it's not taking yourself too seriously. The magic is still strong, but you're just having fun with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, So we started a little bit late, so we can go a little bit longer.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Um, it's been a while, so we should do it again. But you and I have jammed online before, and
Yeah,
we definitely need to do that again because that was
definitely.
a lot of fun.
It was probably like the second or third lockdown, I think, when we did the last time, and then everything
Yeah,
kind of got
yeah, we did.
a bit
Yeah,
crazy after that. But yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
we did nearly a whole master class on the key. I remember that.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I was thinking of the one that you saw me with putting the numbers on the back of the cards.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, that was that was very clever. Um, I bring this up because do you jam a lot with your friends?
Yeah, I mean, so I still do the podcast to see reality with my friend Dave Peace,
Yeah, David.
that you were on before. Yeah,
Yeah,
so like when I was touring, Dave was coming on tour with me as well for some of the shows and things like that. So like we were jamming out the ideas and reworking the show as we went along. The show started like one show, but then a couple of weeks in, one trick was out, this thing was in, that was out, this story was longer, whatever. So it was just kind of happening as we were going along. So yeah, I jam a lot with David still for sure.
nice, nice. Speaking of David, say hi to him for me. It's been a while.
Yeah,
In
I will.
fact, the last time I talked to him was when I was on your podcast.
Yeah,
Uh,
David started actually releasing some effects. So he's got like a trader's deck now. He's got like Coda, which is like a serial number reveal type effect that he brought out. And he's got like I think he's got two more things coming out with Alakazam and stuff like that in the next
yeah,
while.
yeah.
So yeah,
I saw his
he's
name.
creating all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually I just spoke with Jamie Dobbs
Oh yeah.
yesterday, and finally putting out my AFP deck that I brought over there like 3 almost 4 years ago. So they're
Cool.
finally putting it out. Uh,
Excellent.
they're shooting for Halloween. So yeah, but
Great.
yeah. Um, so if you thank you, Bill. If you're still doing a podcast,
Yeah, we're still doing it. Yeah, not as much as we used to, but we're still doing it. Recently, we started doing them again, but because the tour, my Last Magic tour was over, and I started a
right?
new show now called
Right.
Elements. So I've
Oh
only
yeah,
done,
yeah,
yeah. So there's more shows of them now coming up along. But yeah, we have a bit more time, so we're going to start doing the podcast. It was easy to do the podcast during the pandemic when like everyone was off,
yeah,
and we got like Michael Amar and Daniel Garcia
yeah,
and you name it.
right,
But
yeah,
now
yeah,
everyone's busy, so it's kind of
yeah,
hard to get people. But it was a pleasure being on the show, man. Thanks so much for reaching out, and I
yeah.
always support the stuff that you do.
Thank you, my friend. Likewise, same goes for you. And if you ever want me to come back on your podcast, just let me know. 'Cause that was
Absolutely, yeah,
that
needs to happen, 100%.
was a lot of fun. So yeah, let's give Steve a big hand for being here today. Thank you so much for being here. Don't go anywhere though. I'm just going to put you back with the rest of the audience. But
Sure,
I want to thank you on air for being here. And yeah, so we'll talk in a moment. And yeah, well, a great show. Steve Spade from Ireland uh, is a magician, mentalist, hypnotist, and family man. And he's a really great guy. And next week, I'm so excited. And I'm always excited when people say yes to be on the show. Um, but next week, we have a woman from the UK, who, among other things, is a witch and is
Cool.
coming out with a new show called Witch. She's a magician. She's a psychic medium, and you may have seen her at Doomsday recently
Okay.
in Derby. Her name is Eva May, and she's going to be on the show. I'm so excited because I asked her back in March, and she had just gone off on a cruise for a month, and she had to postpone, and it was a tentative postponement, but I talked to her not too long ago, and she said, we're still on, so I'll be there.
Cool.
So yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun, and I hope you're looking forward to it as much as I am.
I'll
Remember,
definitely, I'll definitely tune in. She'll probably put a spell on you, Tommy.
well, I love Eva May. I love her late husband too. It was a real
Yeah.
shame. But she's such a dear, giving person, and it's gonna be a great show. So once again, please remember to keep it strange, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Sounds good.
You've been watching Beyond Belief with your host, Tommy Burnett. Thank you to Steve Spade. See you next time. Next week's guest is Eva May, Saturday, May 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Well, that was fun.